Hey guys, how are you? Well, another day. It was a good day. Overall, it was a positive day, and I'm very thankful coming to you here live from a cafe, and it's a beautiful evening. I would say now it's down to about 74 degrees Fahrenheit. Nice, just a nice calm evening, and you know, like I do on every one of these feeds, I like to open the show with a topic, something I reflect on throughout the course of my life. And, today what I've titled it is Can Someone Really Help You? Hey, Liz on the live check in. Good to see you, Liz. I think about that because I've heard people say that to me sometimes, like, oh, I thought you could help me. I've also, sometimes people ask me to share, or maybe I can help you. What I've learned in life, people can encourage you, people can support you, and you need that. But at the end of the day, like I said, there's a scripture that says no one can really understand your pain and no one can really celebrate your joy. To a certain extent, no one, you have your own individual process of healing and celebrating life. Certainly, you'll meet others across your path that will help in the sense of bringing out the best in you or encouraging you to be you. But most of the answers for your healing and for your celebration of life is mainly just developing yourself and doing the work for yourself to keep yourself in a good space. I think what happens many times is people think a relationship, someone else, whether it's a lover, friend, or even a counselor, it could be whoever, they think that they will be able to solve the answer of life for them. But it's not the case. The case is what I've learned in life is everyone has some type of issues. Just like growing up, I thought that there was an idea of a perfect family, and other people had it, and I was interested in visiting other people's families' houses during holidays to see how they celebrate. To see, and the closer you get to any family, the more dysfunction you will see, and it will break the glass illusion that there's a perfect family. Certainly there's more dysfunction in some than others. But it's an observation. Another observation is someone has a perfect relationship. But then the closer you get to that, the more you talk to them, that glass will shatter that they don't. You know, there's been times like I've talked to somebody in a relationship, and after like a 5 minute conversation, I said, damn. And I'm thinking like they had like the perfect relationship. I'm like, damn, they're barely holding it together. I often say that, you think that other people, because the facade, the outside, the exterior of their lives look presentable, whether it's their clothing, whether it's their car, whether it's their job situation, whether it's just how they present themselves. Some people will never verbally express their issues, never. Some people have the ability to be an open book and some people don't. But I like to share these insights because I believe they heal. They heal yourself and they heal others. And they get you to the understanding of no one can really help you to the extent of understanding life to the point where you're at peace with it, even the imperfectness of life. Because life is imperfect in this world. It can be better and you can improve it and you should embrace it and you should make the most of each day. You should get out there, you should explore, you should build your life, you should focus on everything you can control, whether it's losing weight, getting a new job, moving. You should do all those things because they matter. and they do inspire you, and you do enjoy life. I enjoy life. I mean, that's the other thing. Sometimes, when I share the different insights of life, I enjoy life probably more than I see most people. I mean, I can't say that because I don't know what's in their heart, but I really try to enjoy life to the fullest responsibly. And, many people I see, they spend most of their time, well, I can't judge that, but I would just say that, what I'm trying to communicate here is, your help is really on your self-discovery, and it's on your shoulders. You get to a certain point in life too. Your parents can't fix you. You know, your relationship can't fix you. Your counselor can't fix you. Your job can't fix you. Nothing can fix you. You heal yourself. Other people help illuminate what you have inside you, and you realize there's imperfections on the journey, and you learn to accept that and laugh through them, and keep walking through them. And that's the core of what I want to share tonight. As far as the opening structure topic is, be very careful in life when you. I don't want to discourage you from seeking help. I don't want to do that, and I don't want to discourage you from having people in your life that teach you, inspire you, encourage you. You need that. Well, what I'm trying to say is, can someone really help? Yeah, help is a relative term, I guess, depending on how you're going to use it here. But I'm getting to you that within you and what you are going to push yourself to do, and how much compassion you're going to have on yourself, and how you're going to be responsible for yourself and be responsible for your thoughts, and be responsible to get yourself off the couch and go for an evening walk. That's it right now. I mean, tonight I'll go for another walk after live feed. But, right now it's 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time as I make this live feed on a Sunday. Can anyone really help you go for an evening walk? I know many people that have talked to their spouse and they say, Sam, my wife is really overweight, or my husband, is having health problems. As much as you nag your spouse, you can't make them get off the couch. And I think I've seen the opposite. I think it gets worse the more you try to help someone. Certainly growing up in a household where I saw, family members have problems, which we all have problems, but some had drug problems. And, you learn the word of an enabler. And even beyond all the enabler and beyond all the psychiatry of drug-related problems, what you come to realize is a million people can be helping you, but at the end of the day, only you can really help yourself. And again, you're going to need help. Again, you need people. So take what I'm saying in context. And remember that no one can fully understand your pain and no one can fully understand your joy, but you can't let that make you have a pity party, and you can't let that make you isolate yourself as far as you're the only one. What I hear on this channel so many times, which encourages me and I appreciate, is that, Sam, I'm glad that you shared that. I feel the same way. And that's what I've learned in leadership or just speaking up. If you share yourself in an honest way, for the most part, it will break down barriers for other people to say, oh, I go through that too, or I think that too, or this and this and that. With the understanding too, everyone has their unique journey. But the answers lie within you. Other people encourage you to seek them. But you are the one at the end of the night that has to sleep with you, even if you're sleeping next to someone else, or if you're not sleeping next to someone else. Either way, you have to, and you have to be careful, and we'll get to live comments. You have to be careful too when you have conversations that you don't let too much sadness exchange onto you, because you have to come to the realization that no one can really help you, and you can't really help someone else. To a certain extent, take that in context. But to the extent of you have to work on yourself, and someone else has to work on them. And so as I get older and more mature, sometimes when people ask me for help as far as like sharing or talking, what I've tried to do a lot of times is listen, say what I need to say, and then don't extend the conversation. Listen, share, and then don't extend it. Um, you know, and those are the core things. As I reflect on some life insights tonight, um, and now we just get into live comments. Nordic Pride first. Liz again. Liz, good to see you. Nordic Pride. Good evening, bro. Good evening, Nordic. How are you, man? I was in Miami this morning, Miami, Florida, and what I was reflecting on in Miami was just how crowded it is. Very congested. I mean, I've been to Miami several times. That's where a good concentration of the jobs are if you're in southern Florida. Um, but it is very congested. I mean, almost to the feel of New York, but not New York. I mean, it's not that congested, but as you go down I-95, the highway gets tighter, the congestion gets more, and the energy changes. Whether it's Miami Beach or downtown Miami in the city, it's not a relaxing feel. It really isn't for me. For me, is my opinion. It's just too. Even on a Sunday, today's a Sunday as I make this live feed, depending on when you watch it. But the congestion is just, it makes me too tense. I don't like to be in the middle of nowhere, but it was, I couldn't relax. And I said, I'm going to get out of here. And, that's part of the journey too. A lot of times people ask me, which I understand, which I did many times on YouTube or different social media. I ask people about Florida and, what do you think about this area, that area? You can definitely learn a lot online, but there's going to be no substitute for you visiting and you exploring the areas and driving the different highways and going to the different towns and going into different supermarkets. Because just like everywhere in the world, every different town has a different feel, different culture, different energy, and you can only tell so much online. I remember I was looking at one RV lot to purchase, like when I really first started looking at Florida, and it was in Titusville, Florida, which I think is the Space Coast, Titusville. I always thought it was pronounced Titsville, but it's like Titusville or something. And it was an RV lot in a community. I think the name of the RV community was the Great Outdoors. And so I went to go visit it. There was an RV lot at that time, I don't know, 50, 60,000. And I went to go visit it. As soon as I pulled up, it was like situated next to two sewage plants. And as soon as you go, like, there's a security guard. As soon as you go up to the security guard, all you smell was sewage. I said, damn, what's that smell? He goes, oh, yeah, this is right in between two sewage plants. He goes, but once you get into the, community, it's not that bad, and mostly you can't tell. Now, to be fair, I never went into the community, but that was like a deal breaker for me. I didn't really like the area, too. I mean, I was still exploring Florida at that time. So I kind of knew I wanted to be a little bit more south. But what I'm sharing with you is what you see online is one perspective, but a whole nother perspective when you see, smell, taste, and experience a whole nother perspective. Joshua, hey Joshua, what's up, brother? Such great advice. Thank you, brother. I appreciate that positive feedback. I mean, that does help, right? So in one sense, no one can help, but what can help is having positive people around you that understand you, that encourage you to honestly share, and that don't make you feel, so that's help, right? So I'm trying to be fair here in this assessment. That helps, and that makes you not feel odd or strange. But then to do the work, you have to help yourself. Okay, so there's that balance there. Take the message, always take the message in context. There's tips that help, there's people that help by having the right ones in your life, but there's no escaping the fact that every morning you have to roll yourself to bed, right? When we're children, one of the times I gave my mom probably the most aggravation, I'm sure, my teenage years when she had to wake me up to go to school. And, as you get older, you appreciate all that you put your parents through during those years. Very challenging. I pray. I often pray in the morning sometimes when I go to work. I think about all the parents that are getting their children ready for school and how hard that is. Because I remember, the struggle I gave my mom. But I'm saying all that to say, as you become an adult, you have to get yourself out of bed. Right? No one can help you, in a sense of speaking, right? So this is how I'm trying to tie it in. Joshua says, Sam, you always cheer me up. Good. I'm thankful for that. But also, I should ever rely on everyone's advice, because you need to take everything with a grain of rice or a grain of salt. Yes, you take everything with a grain of salt. Excellent, excellent comment. And that is exactly the right thing, brother. Good job, Joshua. Never put anyone on a pedestal, and take everything said with a grain of salt, meaning that you take it in context, you take it for what it's worth, but you don't put too much weight on any one piece of advice or any person, because everything is imperfect. There's no exact science to life. I often say that. I believe in science. I believe in technology. Science is basically the studying of data through observation and experiment. Technology, in many times, are mathematical formulas, calculations. Again, data, storage of data, computing of data, and all those things are great. But art is abstract. There's no mathematical formula for art. It's very relative to a person's perspective. Okay, so life is not science. It's an art form. It's a living organism. But certainly, you should know the science. What was it, the 5%ers or something? I used to listen. I know Wu-Tang was big into that for a minute. There's a certain science to life, right? There's a certain mathematical formula to certain things, but there's also abstract. It's also art form. It's both, right? Because you can't just say, all right, if I do X, Y, Z, that's it. That's the answer to life, and life is always perfect. It's not. If life was a mathematical formula, then you just figure it out and everything stays perfect forever. But there's not a mathematical formula. It's a constant evolution. And that's why it's sometimes such a struggle, because it's ever changing. And the older we get, the less we want to change. And so that can become like a never ending misery. I think of Rihanna's song, Never Ending. And she was almost verbally expressing that in her song. It's like it's all never ending. The never ending change and evolution can get weary at times. The scripture said, don't get weary in well doing. The reason you shouldn't get weary in well doing, the reason he had to say that is because it does get weary, because, again, you don't just answer the question and then that's it. The test is over. The test never ends. You understand what I'm saying? So it's like you have to keep going. And at times you're like, oh, this thing never going to end. You understand what I'm saying? And so it's an interesting observation of life. The beautiful and very intelligent, very sharp. She catches everything I say. Marin, hey Marin from the west coast of Florida. Love and respect right back to you. Janice, I can't get off the couch. That's where I watch YouTube. I understand that it's not easy, especially as you get older. I can appreciate that. So again, it's not it's a goal. Try to get up, even if it's just walk around your house. Because when I talk to my mom or when I visit my mom, that's the number one thing we talk about. I said, "When's the last time you got up?" And she even tells me, "Sam, I got to get up because my legs are burning." Of course, she has diabetes, so her legs will burn if she doesn't get up, because it's nerve pain. That's what happens. But as much as you can, movement is life. So the more you can move and the more you can be active, the better. You don't have to go run a marathon, but it's not easy. But love and respect. Janice, thank you for sharing. B. Barry, what's up, brother? Hello from Franklin, Germany. That's amazing. It's great to connect with people from around the world, man. I remember you, B. Barry. You've been here for a while, man. I appreciate that. What time is it in Germany, man? It's 6:20 right now, Eastern Standard Time here in Florida. Italian Stallion, that's our brother from New Jersey that's looking to come to Tampa. Let's see what he got to say. How are you, buddy? I worked for Trenton Sewer Department, okay, for 17 years, left last April. Well, thank you for sharing that, brother. Well, hopefully, I don't know, hopefully you got some type of pension or something, but even if you didn't, yeah, I mean, everything changes. And that's hard, working for the same company for that long and then you got to do something new. Like, that's a never ending, you're like, oh, I don't want to learn a new system. I don't want to get a new boss. It's very overwhelming. Um, I think in today's society, the average person stays with their company for 4.5 years. So, and you'll see that, like, even 3 generations ago, like Janice's generation, you stay with your company for 30 years. Janice, I think, worked for the same company for a long period of time. She retired and all those different things. And it's kind of like what my father did, and that's what the previous generation did. My grandfather, when he came over here, he was a janitor, and my father was an electrician. I'm in like a IT engineering type thing. And so, I've been with the same company for 10 years, and that's a long time in today's society. So, you know, it's just the evolution of life. Nothing stays the same. Society will never stay the same. So is it good or bad? I mean, it's just change. And change is hard for the human psyche. Emsaf, hello, my brother from Southwest Florida. I'm not mad at that. I may get over to the West Coast. I was thinking about who was the person, forgive me, it was a viewer who left a comment on one of my videos when I was thinking about getting a home base. She said, Sam, you'll see how it is in the winter when all the campgrounds are packed. And it's true. I mean, one of the campgrounds I was looking at this week to stay at, there's some openings this week, but then like starting next week, the thing's booked like all throughout the winter. And I'm like, oh my God, I was counting on at least getting a few weeks out of that. And so I went back to kicking myself in the ass a little bit for not getting a home base. I said, Sam, you're going to struggle a little bit to find, open campgrounds because in Florida in the winter, they're reserved. And yeah, it's gonna be interesting. A little bit I get sad when I think about I missed that time window. Um, so that's gonna be an interesting dynamic that I'm gonna have to face this winter. I'll adapt, but like I say, if you're not gonna travel state to state, I mean, to do what I'm doing, it could be done, but it just requires a lot more effort. When you're not staying at a campground or whatever, every night is an effort to do things, and so that gets tiring, and that weighs on your mind. At least it does for me, and so I don't know. I'll see. It'll be an interesting time, man. I mean, that's the one thing that kind of like uh, weighs on my mind a little bit. You know, I was like, yeah, you got to let go though. You got to always let things go. But I know when I'm in a time window, and then when that time window passes, I'm like, I know how life is. Life is a series of time windows, and you get a window, and if you miss it, you can't go back and force it. It's like, yeah, you got to wait for the next window to come around, and it sucks because human nature is we want to always win. You want to hit every time window just right, but it's not the reality of life. So, Tima, it takes a lot of courage to leave your comfort zone and explore the unknown. That's definitely true. Seeing what's possible with your own eyes is a must. Totally agree with that. Good job, Tima. Yeah, I mean it's scary. There's no doubt about it. I mean, I've built up courage over time, but certainly in the beginning, I mean, if I reflect now where I was even just a couple of years ago as far as getting out and exploring it, it took me a couple of years just to leave the 45 minutes radius of my house. Um, and you're off balance when you are traveling and you don't have a complete structured routine. You hear me talk about that often in the videos I've been making about related to a home base and to being a nomad, to living mobile, is it does put you off balance. It's exciting, especially in the beginning, and you need a level of breaking up your routine in life because routine can get not good where you lose all your creative juices. But after a while of travel, after a while of variety, then you crave the structure and you need the structure. And even though I'm very structured and disciplined on how I'll go upon my day, not having like a fixed home base, that there's a weight there. and there's almost an off balance there, and it's something you gotta be mindful of. B. Barry, it's almost midnight in Frankfurt, Germany. All right, man. Well, I appreciate you joining, man. Love and respect, man. Everyone out there in Germany, man. Italian life is a never-ending learning experience and journey. That's true. We never stop learning. That's true. That's true. And that can get, it can get tiring because you're like, I remember so many times, whether it be my mother, just some older person, many older people have told me that I don't want to learn anything new. Like I remember there was a couple old people I was trying to teach them about a computer, and they're like, I don't want to learn that. I don't want to learn anything new. I was trying to show them a phone, how do you use a like smartphone. And I was like, I don't want to learn. I don't want to learn. You get to a certain point in life where you just don't want to learn anymore. You're done. You do get burnt out, and and so like the same thing. Like, so can I help you learn technology if you don't want to learn it? No. I can't force you to, I can't force help on you. You understand what I'm saying? So it like kind of ties in. Someone can be there, they can know, and they can teach you, and they can want to help you. But if you're just not there where you're ready to be helped, no one can help you. No one can really help you. And so that's just, again, a life observation. MTOF. Yeah, I think the west coast of Florida is cheaper overall. It's possible. That's possible, definitely. I mean, Tampa has got job opportunities, but basically when you get below Tampa, it's more or less more retirees, and pretty much below Tampa is just shops and retirement. It's not much, in general speaking terms, there's not much business, so there's not much jobs. To again, you take that in context, and so I don't know. Well, I can't. Well, I can say that, and what I can say too is, I mean, so every things it's all relative, I guess. Too. I mean, there's places on the East Coast that are cheaper, but they're inland. They're not in the best areas per se. All price is relative. I will still say, on average, that housing on average is cheaper in Florida, but jobs aren't. There's jobs, but they're not the same pay scale. And I mean, I've never had an experience as far as obtaining one because I work remotely in Florida. So there is a difference between a job posting and getting a job. So you have to go through the whole process to see how involved it is. Italian. Italian says he tore his knee on a job, came back, and they never treated him the same. I guess I wore out my welcome. There, you are right. After 5, 6 years, it's time to move on. Thank you for sharing, brother. Yeah, that's interesting. I was thinking about that today. You do wear out your welcome. I think if you stay too long anywhere, you wear out your welcome. The other night I was at a Starbucks, and usually I'm there for like no more than an hour. Uh, but I left and I came back, and I was like, you can't stay anywhere too long. You don't have to wear out your welcome with other people, but just like there's a time window. It's like same thing with your neighbors or whatever. You go to visit your neighbor, you don't want to stay too long. You go to visit a relative, you don't want to stay too long. There is definitely some type of line that even when people extend and you just stay or want you to stay or you want to stay, you have to separate yourself and move on. And but it's hard. Sometimes leaving. I remember Drake had a song. It's like the last song was like doing surgery. Separating himself from the crowd because you don't want it to end, but everything ends. And so, there's an art form. All right. So here's the thing, right? Life is not a science. You can't say like, you should only visit someone for this amount of time every time. That's art. That's a science. The art is there's just like an orgasmic abstract energy that there's a certain time that's good, and then when it's over, don't try to extend it and leave, and just accept that it passes. Everything in this world just kind of like flows and passes. You can't hold on to it. You hold on to anything too tight in this world, it's not good. There's that quote that says that time is like a river, and you can't touch the same spot twice. And I think that's true. Free to be me. Hey, peace, Sam. Hello to you. You do the math. It will help you deal with the evolution of life. Wu Tang Clan forever. Yeah, that was Wu Tang Clan. Look, very intelligent artist, man. Very intelligent. T-Ma. Ghostface, one of my favorite single artists. So was Raekwon, has some great albums too. T-Ma. Have you started the search again? No, I haven't. I've looked online. I look online every couple of days. I look at realtor.com mainly. But I can't find anything even close to as cheap. And it's I just like I guess I'm trying to describe what it feels like. It feels like getting out of a relationship, even though I never committed. And it's like there's no, I'm not. There's nothing else out there for me right now. You know, understand what I'm saying? 'Cause I still like feel like I screwed up the last one, so it's like I'm not there. And being that I know now that if I go a different route, it's going to be higher. I'm in no rush, but the only thing that is rushing, not rushing me, but the only thing that's pressing on me now is that it's going to be interesting these next couple months because campgrounds are so packed. So I feel like again I missed a time window there, and I was timing that just right too. I was going to close actually November 16th. That was going to be my closing date, so I would have closed this week on that property. So I'm still thinking about that. I haven't gotten over it. So it's like, and what I liked about that too was that was going to be a cash deal, so that wasn't going to be any mortgage or anything. You know, the higher you go, then I got to look at if I wanted to get a mortgage or something like that. And going through that whole process is not something I will look forward to again. So it's like I'm kind of like feel like I'm in the middle of no man's land, which is an eerie feeling. I'm not going to lie to you, because I had an energy when I moved from New Jersey, and I had a purpose and I had a focus, and it was like I was in no rush. My rush was just to get my life situated down here and reposition, which I did. And now to buy property again, there was an energy there, and then when I missed the opportunity, now it's like I just feel like I'm in no man's land a little bit. And so it's an interesting feeling. Hey Rash, what's up, brother? Shout out to Canada. Hey Rash from Vancouver, I believe. I was saying, can cheap rooms at a rental house be found there? What do you think about the downsides that can be? Yes, they could. I mean, Airbnb and different things like that. They're out there. For me, it wouldn't be an option because I don't like to be around. I would not want to share a place with a person. I wouldn't want a roommate. Just not the energy that I like. So I don't even want like an attached dwelling. That's the downside. It's for me, a property is a huge commitment to a community, to neighbors. I don't want to be, I would be overcommitted if I had roommates and if I was attached again to a neighbor. I want a level of separation. So, yeah, that's my thoughts. Janice. Same with at Italian. She says she went back after 22 weeks and they gave her the worst job, which was given me what gave her another injury, and thanks to that, I got downsized shortly afterwards. I can understand that. It's tough. Thank God, Janice, that you got so many years and you were able to be situated and you could gracefully retire. Um, and people often ask, being that live simple, why still work a high stress job per se? And the answer goes back to look, when you're in a certain age group of your life, you have to make your money, and you have to maximize your earning power because that time window passes, and it costs money to do everything in this world. Glen Oak, greetings from Fort Worth, Texas. Love and respect to the Lone Star State. Good to see you, Glenn. Thank you. And I appreciate everyone who watches this video. If you can give the thumbs up and you can share, I appreciate that. Just a free way to support. Thank you. Janice, after 20 years of perfect attendance, I give you a lot of credit. That's a great job. You get a thumbs up. 20 years of perfect attendance. Good job. Milano, Sammy, Colombia like to stay longer, but it's gay. Oh yeah, they do. They do. There's some beautiful women today. I saw beautiful Spanish and Haitian women. Uh, just amazing. But you know, for me, it all fades, and I'm just at a different point in my journey. But it is beautiful to look at. It's true, Milano. Sammy, the Colombian, I read that time, and then Milano says time is not an issue when you enjoy it. That's true. Um, it's weird, like, because even though I enjoy the time off, part of what's depressing on a Sunday is thinking about work on a Monday. I made videos about that. Like, most of America, unless you're retired, on Sunday, most of the day, you're trying to enjoy it, but you're thinking about tomorrow. You're thinking about Monday, and it's like, you really don't have off 2 days. You have off one, Saturday, and then Sunday you're thinking about work already. But you have to be thankful because you need income. That's true. BBT, BBT, what's up, man? 50 degrees in South Carolina. It was cold this morning. That is, once it gets below 50, that's cold. And he goes, old man winter is on his way. Hope all is well. BBT, good to see you. Been thinking about you. Hope your health and your family is doing well. Yeah, I mean, I was talking to people up in Jersey, and they were saying it's in the 40s. So, yeah, the cold weather's coming. I mean, again, what is it right now? 75 degrees Fahrenheit. Today it was 86, South Florida. So, um, for me, that's worth it right there. I mean, that's it. If you ask me to describe why I'm here, I mean, that's the main reason. I don't want to go through any more winters, but you do what you got to do. You got to do it. Glen O, it's cold in Texas. It's getting down to 20 degrees tomorrow. Yeah, I saw that. I watched somebody on YouTube that's from there, and that's what he was saying. That's 20 degrees. Yes, that's not a go. It's amazing that the weather plays a huge part, though, on our well-being. Tima. Tima says, I've had three homes, but my current one was a cash deal. I didn't want to go through the mortgage process again. I can understand that. Large purchases are stress inducing. Totally agree with that. Great comment. The only downside, I mean, depends how much cash you spend, but the downside about a cash deal is you're eating up your number one asset, which is your savings. But you don't have a mortgage and you don't have that whole stress process of going through obtaining a mortgage. But it's like somebody asked me, I think last night, like if you had 100,000 in cash and you had to do something, what would you do with it? So to me, what I say is you buy $25,000 home base or whatever you're doing cash, or you put 25,000 down on a $100,000 house and you mortgage the rest, or you just rent and keep it in cash. But that's what I would say. I mean, because for me, in my opinion, your savings is your lifesaver in a pinch. But it's hard sometimes when you to keep your hand out of the cookie jar. So sometimes there's that saying that having cash burns a hole in your wallet, meaning that sometimes you got extra money, and it's like, well, I'll do something, I'll spend it or do something wild with it, and you got to be mindful of that. There's a scripture that says hoarding cash can harm the saver, because all will be put into risky investments, and before you know it, nothing is left. So you know, but you definitely want to hoard a certain amount. There's no doubt about that. So it's a give and take. But it's a nice evening. Tima says, I have regrets about using my savings. It's understandable. You got to let it go. I certainly don't want you to live in the past, but thank you for sharing that. Um, yeah, we just, we all have different regrets, myself included. We just let them go. But, at least, are you still happy where you're at, Tima? Do you like your house still, or do you want to move? I mean, I think that's key. I think if you like your house, at least you're good there, where you're living, where you want to live. Well, it's a nice night. There's people sitting outside cafe. And last night I had a magical palm tree behind me. No palm tree today, but it's still nice to be outside. Excuse me. I was just watching on. Tima says, I feel like the deal was too good to pass up. Yeah, it's tough. When did you buy? And are you still happy there? Um, yeah, that's the other thing. Sometimes I think about what a home base is. Desires change. I don't even I guess I kind of looking at the next thing I want to buy. I don't want to plan on selling, but you can never say you'd never plan on selling, because at some point I guess you may always have to sell. But just that whole process, it is like Timo said, it's just overwhelming. The whole buying and selling, and it's just crazy. Gleno, he says, I retired from 28 years of trucking, okay, and bought a nice tour bus to live in, okay. If I get tired of this city, I have the freedom to move. Well, definitely. Thank you for sharing. The downside with that is what I learned on the road is that you have to park that thing somewhere. So you have the freedom to move, but you're going to have to park. There's no way around that. And certainly when you're going from state to state or city to city, there's going to be rest stops, truck stops, or whatever. But you take that thing on the road. You're going to have to stop at a campground, or especially the bigger thing like that, or RV park. So I guess even freedom itself, as far as that, that's the biggest downside. I'll often share with you guys that is the parking situation. So you have the RV or something. The RV is not freedom. The RV means that you have a nice vehicle with all the amenities, but you got to park it somewhere. Uh, to me, that's it, and it's not easy to find. At least for me, in my opinion, light walkers, a tiny house community. Yeah, I mean, there's some of them in remote areas. Um, I mean, even in Florida, there's certain communities here where they build smaller scale houses. Like up in Jersey, everything is a McMansion. There's no new building that's not a couple stories, big monster. So down here, there's more, not even quote unquote tiny homes, but smaller scale houses. But the tiny homes, on average, you're not going to see them in most populated areas. They're going to be more remote areas, because the more populated ones have a school system and infrastructure, and they usually have a minimum requirement of 1,000 square foot a house being built on a lot. Most zoning municipalities have restrictions in populated areas that the house has to be at least 1,000 square foot or 12,000 square foot. I mean, or 1,200 square foot, and so you're going to have to go into remote areas or rural areas, where there's limited or no restrictions to have communities like that. Um, the only downside with that, everything has downside, everything has upside. The only thing downside with that is, like I say, you're going to be in a rural area, and then also, no mobility. But I guess at a certain point, even if you buy a piece of land, at a certain point, no matter what, you're going to be anchored down somewhere. So, because at some point too, you pay more in rent. Like I say, when does it cost? When is it wise to buy a house? If you're going to be in the same area for at least 5 years, then you might as well buy, because at the end of the day, if you stay in the same area for 5 years, if you add up all the rent, you're going to pay more in rent than you would if you owned. But you have to be in the same area for about 5 years for it to pay off on average. Gleno, I live in a very nice RV lot. Man, thank you for sharing that, Gleno. Well, then you already got a home base. And that's wisdom, and that's what I was looking to do. Well, you got a good situation, and it sounds like. I like to hear that, Tima. A year and a half ago, my kids are happy with it. It was needed after getting a divorce. Well, one is, I often think about that throughout the course of my day. I want to send love and prayers to anyone who's ever went through a divorce. I think that's one of the hardest things you'll ever have to do in life. I've certainly met people on this channel that have shared that with me. And certainly, people in my real life, I've known been through that. And even if it needs to end, and I think if you ever have to ask the question, is it time to get a divorce? I think it is. But it doesn't make it easier. It's still a painful part of life that, Tima, do you still reflect on that, or you totally past it? But either way, I mean, it sounds like you made the right decision by almost an accident in front of it. It seems like you made the right decision by settling down and doing what you need to do for your family and for your children. And so I commend you for that. Um, I'm sure that was a lot of anxiety, getting a divorce and getting a new property, but hopefully at least you're healing now. or you have healed. Well, a year and a half ago, I think it takes 3 years to heal, and I don't think we're ever the same after a major tragedy. And I consider a divorce a tragedy, a needed tragedy, but still a tragedy. Um, I think it takes 3 years, and I still think you're never the same. I think this is part of life. Ben, what's up, Ben? Haha, Texas viewer temp dropping to the 20s. Man, another guy from Texas saying the 20s. I watched a guy in Texas on YouTube. That's what he was saying. As you're drinking ice water, myself in Cali Beach temp 70s. Love and respect to Ben. Um, Oh, he was saying, oh, he was talking about the Texas viewer, and then he was saying himself. He's in Cali Beach, so mid 70s. Yeah, so California, what's up, man? California and Florida have similar warm temperatures throughout the year. I studied it. Florida has the warmest average temperature in the entire United States throughout the entire year. Arizona has the most sun per year. But California can get cool during the winter months. I mean, even Florida, there's different days and there are weeks that get cool. But I would definitely say, California is a great state, temperature, and also those job opportunities. I know definitely in the technology industry, I often look in my field, and I mean, I could probably get a job like tomorrow if I wanted to move to Cali and work there if I ever lost my job. But I don't even really have a desire to go to Cali. I mean, I love Cali, I respect it, but I love Florida more. More. I hate to say it like that, and it's no disrespect. But I mean, maybe at one time I'll experience it or I'll go over there. We'll see. Free to be me. Cash rules everything around me. Cream, get the money. Dollar, dollar bill, y'all. Yeah, I still listen to Wu Tang on Spotify sometimes, mainly Ghostface and a little bit Raekwon. Sometimes I listen to the Wu Tang albums. But again, very intelligent men, very intelligent, and a revolutionary rap group, one of the greatest of all time. Glen Oak, laugh out loud, I've been. No worries, it will be back in the 80s next week. That's amazing. They can dip down in Texas down in 20s and back to 80s. That's amazing. See, once it starts to dip down low in Jersey, it ain't coming back up till May. That's why it makes me want to throw up. That's why I got the hell out of there. Tima. I'm not happy in PA. I can understand that. But the cost of living is very affordable. I understand that. She says she bought the house a year and a half ago, but I've been divorced for 8 years. Oh, okay, I'm healed. Oh, yeah, 8 years. I should do it. And I'm sure you still have moments that you reflect on it, but yeah, I mean, well, real estate is still on average gone up. So hopefully, if you did have to sell, you at least break even, if not make a little bit. Um, I don't know if your kids who graduated high school or whatever they did, but there's no doubt about it. I mean, that's, if you're living where you don't want to live, it's a hard pill to swallow. But certainly there's times in life where you got to do what you got to do. Just like I did, I mean, I would hate to do it, but just like if I had to, I mean, I would do what I have to do. Why? You got no choice, in life. Sometimes, I don't know. I mean, a lot of times people will tell you, you do have a choice. I don't want to say it like that because you do. But sometimes the choice isn't as easy as it is other times. But everything in life is just a series of small steps, and just try to reposition your life to get you where you want to be. Try to make life more enjoyable, and go from there. Love, and there's about a quarter of a moon tonight. I'm looking at the moon, not a half moon, but like a quarter of a moon, almost like the moon emoji. Gleno, don't move to Cali. The rent is ridiculous. There, yeah, real estate crazy high. High people are running away from that state to Texas. Yeah, well, Texas is growing a lot. I mean, definitely a lot of business opportunities there and stuff too. There's no doubt about it. Um, I mean, real estate is right now is just high everywhere because the market, everything's just high. So, you know, that's the other part. I guess if you were buying and you couldn't really find a deal, it's tough. But they often said that too. Like, the real estate's high now, but when real estate was low in 2007 and 8, no one had any money. On average, most people were all in debt, underwater. So it's like, and just because houses were low, most people weren't in a position to buy. And now that houses are high, most people are like, well, yeah, if I sell my house, I'll make money. But then what am I going to go get? I'm going to get something just as high. A lot of times you don't really make out unless you have, you're retiring and you're moving to a different state and you're taking your surplus of what you sell for and you're going to a different state. Because that's just how the cycle works. Glenn O says Dallas is 100% corporate America. Yeah, no doubt about that. No, a lot of business in Dallas that I'm aware of that sometimes I even work with. So, yeah, Dallas booming. There's no doubt about that. Totally agree with that. That's what I've seen. I got for Texas, but for me, I want to be by the ocean. Texas also don't have any state income tax either. And the pay scale is pretty, there's a lot of good paying jobs there too. So, you can make out. But I mean, I guess I'm at the point in my life where, I kind of want to just live where I want to live. Because you get to a certain point where, look, you got to have some type of income. You want to have be somewhere where there's jobs. But then at the end of the day, like I said, the only thing that keeps my sanity sometimes is say, well, you know what? At least after work, I'm looking at palm trees. And that helps. It makes life a little bit better for me. Will that get tiring? I don't know. I mean, so far, I'm good. I can't imagine looking at a dead oak tree would make me happier. So I don't know. BVT. Years ago, I dated a beautiful girl from Tampa, Florida. All right. She was a real beauty, but was so bow-legged she had to get out of bed to turn over. BBT coming hot. Woke me up 25 times a night. I put her on a Greyhound bus. I'm not mad at that, BBT. Good joke, brother. Good joke. Yeah, man. There's some funny stories, man. Beauty is definitely in the eye of the beholder, though. I'll tell you that much. Uh, you know. But, I don't know. Relationships, are they worth it? I don't know. You have to answer that for yourself. BBT is married. Are relationships worth it? Let me ask you that. Let me take a survey. Anyone who's willing to leave a comment. Do you think relationships are worth it? Yes or no? I don't know. You know, I think in the beginning they may be good, but I think at the end, I think disaster. But I don't know. I don't know. Sometimes too, I'm sure that's, at the end of the day, going home to a family member, if everything is well and everything's good in the house, that could be a blessing. That can be encouraging, inspiring. But sometimes, like I know I worked with a guy for years that after work, he would say, well, I'm not going home right now. I'm going to go stop at and get something to eat and eat in my car because I don't want to go right home and deal with my family or deal with my wife. And I understand that. I did, and it was like, but he also was fair. He said, look, Sam, I don't know. I talk all that shit. He goes, but if I was single for, 2 months, I'd probably destroy myself. So, it's like a give and take. What's that old saying? Can't live with them, can't live without them. Now I live without them, but everyone's different. Everyone's not me. There's no perfect answer. T-Moss says, nope. I plan to stay happily single. I'm not mad at you. I'm not mad at that. And I think too I think too for a woman, and once you have children, and once they're part of your life, I think a woman's perspective may change. I remember my mom telling me that. She goes, Sam, some men, can't handle when women have children because they want all the attention on them. And she goes, when you have children, it's just not the case, So I think, that fulfills a motherly instinct to have children and then to have that love until your kids start to talk back to you. Then it may be a disaster, but they come back around. They do. And there's nothing like a good mother. BVT, and no one's perfect. BVT, yes, you get a good one, but I see some crazy ones, but they're now. He goes, yes, okay, you're talking about relationships. He says, yes, they're worth it if you get a good one, but I see some crazy ones there now. Well, that's definitely true. Yeah, hard to get a good one. I think not just hard to get a good one, but I think hard to maintain it. That's kind of what I really learned in life is that, there's one thing about getting something and there's a whole other thing about maintaining it and sustaining it. That's the hard part of life. Glenn O. In the long run, all caps, no. I'm not mad at that, Glenn O. I'm not mad at that. MTOF. They can be, and I'm talking about relationships now. It says they can be with the right person. I've had women say they love me, then 2 weeks later they don't know, they don't want to know from, they don't want nothing from me, or they don't want to know me. I understand that, M. Tough. Thank you for sharing. That's a good one. Glad to know. It's all apple pie and smiles in the beginning. That's definitely true. But soon the sweetness is gone. Well, I definitely agree with that. It's just human nature. Human nature. I would tend to agree with that. That's what I've seen in my life. MTOF. Same reason why the divorce rate is so high. 80% of divorces are initiated by women. Okay, I didn't know that. It's an interesting stat. BBT. BBT says I did 7 years before marriage. Wow. People don't do that now. Yeah, I don't see that too often. So that's a good comment. And that's interesting. I definitely don't see that. Free to be me. In the beginning, it's see another one here. I agree with this. In the beginning, it's beautiful, but after kids in 26 years, it's ugly. Phew, that sounds ugly. Yeah, that I can understand that. Yeah, I often reflect on that sometimes when I see people that have been married for like 20, 30 years, and then they say, I had enough. I said, wow, they got to do what they got to do. It's interesting, though. It happens. Uh, it's true. Ray Jr. says there are lots of companies and organizations that push the strong single woman lifestyle, even from the government. You see it in Hollywood movies. Yeah, I mean, everyone wants their independence, and I think everyone should have equal opportunity. I definitely think we're better when everyone has equal say in a community. Um, so no one should have to be forced to stay anywhere because of economic situation or lack of opportunity, which happened for many decades in this country. So I'm certainly, you know, at the end of the day, look, it's just human nature. Everybody wants to be independent, but at the same time, everybody wants their cake and eat it too. They want to be in a relationship, but I don't think you can be in a relationship and be totally independent. Uh, you know, no, it's just not easy. Tima, we married too young and started a family too soon. Yeah, that's what happened with previous generations, including my mom, because that's what like Ray was saying. Like society pumps maybe the opposite now, but back in the day, society pumped like if you weren't married by the age of 25, something was wrong with you, and that was bad. And statistics show that if you marry before the age of 25, you're higher likely to get a divorce. Some people are meant to be single. Some people are meant to get married older in life. Some people are meant to just not get married. I mean, everyone's different. But there's no right or wrong answer per se. It's just difference. That's what I've kind of like seen through my observation. But relationships are tough. There's just no way around that. Well, I don't know, guys. It is another night, and I'm very thankful. And it just comes to that point. Same thing with me. In one sense, I like to just talk all night. But in the other sense, there's just time windows, and there's times where you just end it because you don't want to extend the conversation. Ray says Hollywood pushes single men lifestyle as well. Yeah, I mean, it's just Hollywood and what you see on TV. It's all a reflection of what's in life, and life. The truth about life is it's good, bad, and ugly, and everyone's pushing something, and there's no right or wrong answer. It's just we all got to figure it out for ourselves. Can no one can help you. If you watch no TV, that can't help you. If you watch all TV, that ain't gonna help you. It's like it's all just life. Italian. Instead of putting my money in the bank, I've started stacking silver for 2 months now. I find it much easier to save. It's as good as money in the bank. Well, in my opinion, you should do what you want, brother. Everyone should always do whatever they want. In my opinion, I would say no, in my opinion. Why? Because if you're buying silver, if you're buying the physical material of silver, when you go to exchange it for money, you're going to get it exchanged at a wholesale rate, meaning the person who's going to buy it from you is not going to buy it. Just like when you pawn jewelry, you buy jewelry at a retail rate, and then when you go to pawn it, they don't buy it back from you at the same cost, no matter what it is. They buy it back at wholesale, even if silver went up in value. So the only time you'd make out if you bought gold or silver is if you bought like an index fund of that, and then if the price of it went up, you sold it because it's a liquid, almost like a stock. But the physical gold or silver, even if you buy it at a lower level and the price of gold rises, when you go to exchange that gold or silver to a store or to wherever you're going to exchange it, you're going to get it's going to get purchased at wholesale. So they're going to have to buy it cheaper, or else they're not going to want it because they got to flip it. So, in my opinion, even though you get no interest on a savings account, I would still keep it in savings because it's a liquid account. The purpose of a savings account is not an investment. It's not meant to go up. It's an emergency fund meant to be totally liquid. So, because when you have an emergency, you don't want to have to exchange something. Because when you exchange something, when you have to exchange it for currency, uh, you know, that's called a hard asset, and that could cause you to take a lower price because you're in an emergency. You can't wait for your price, whether it's a house, whether it's silver, whether it's whatever. So when you're in an emergency, you want the currency available to you in a liquid form so you can use it to take care of your emergency. Now, what I do say is it's hard to not get anxious and let that savings account burn a hole in your wallet. Um, but in my opinion, everyone, if they could, should have at least 12 months worth of expenses in a savings account. It's not going to earn any interest. It's not going to be fun to just let it sit there, but it's a peace of mind, and it is what it is. It's a fund for emergencies so that you don't get fucked in life, which you can very easily happen. That's my opinion. Glenn O. Men going their own way movement is picking up momentum. I've seen that for a couple of years on YouTube now. I'm not for that. For me, it's bitter men. Uh, I have no problem with people saying they want to be single, but for me, it looks like some hot chick got the best of them. I thank God for every relationship, even though all of mine, pretty much all my relationships ended in a disaster. But not like in a disaster where um, all my relationships ended peacefully. There was never like a huge, but like they end in a disaster where your emotions get torn apart. But even when they got torn apart, I mean, I take accountable for my own life. I mean, I knew who I was getting involved with. Many times, you can look back at any relationship. You knew from the beginning who you were getting involved with, but you just chose to ignore the signs because either they were hot or you thought you can change them. And so, you got to take accountability for that. And, so uh, I thank God for the women I've known and for the value they added to my life. Even though it ended in an emotional disaster, I'm still thankful for that. And Italian. Luckily, I did have a pension from my job, thank God. Well, yeah, I totally agree. Pensions are a dying thing now. That was the good part about unions and old companies was you had a pension. A pension is a guaranteed sum of money that you get a monthly payout when you retire. Society about 20 years ago started to switch to 401ks. 401ks is money in basically a brokerage account, which is like an investment account that you can put in index funds. Sometimes you can put in single stocks, or you could just put in a savings account, kind of. But the problem with 401ks is that most people have loans against them, uh, and many people even cash them out, even though they get the regular tax rate and a 10% penalty, because maybe they want to start their own business, maybe they have to pay off debt. I've done that. Um, and so you do what you have to do because you have to survive. But then when you get to retirement age, it's not like previous generations where you have you don't have any guarantee. And if you're only going to collect Social Security, you're going to be screwed because Social Security, the average Social Security is $1,400 per month, and many people don't even make that. And you couldn't survive on $1,400 per month if that was your sole income for most people. Um, and because even though you get Medicare at 65 or 67, you still have to pay a supplemental. It's a disaster. I really feel bad. I mean, and that scares me a little bit about the future. But um, that's where society went wrong. We just do a more corporate tax reform, and the average person is not getting is not getting. I don't care what side of the aisle, they're not getting represented well. Society's run by corporations right now, not the mafia, corporations, and a regular person has no one truly work. Unemployment doesn't matter if it's low. If people who are employed, if the middle class isn't growing, which it's not, and if retirement, pensions, and all and annuities, those things are dead past. If they're not going to be there for the future generations, and they're already talking about reforming Social Security and all that, it's not positive, in my opinion. It's not a positive thing for society. BBT, what does stacking silver mean? Or are you saving your change? Not sure what that means. I would think it means buying silver coins, but I'll let him speak to that. Right, Jay? Men going, I believe it says men going their own way is controlled, so men stay hating women. I agree with that. Yeah, I mean, in my opinion, I want to try to be fair. In my opinion, I understand the sentiment, so I don't want to be like judgmental. At least tonight, I'm not fired up. But you know, it's like you can't be bitter in life. If you're bitter, you'll never heal. And so I think that I think you have to learn to heal. I think you have to learn to just say, accept, look, you knew who you were getting involved with, and you knew most relationships are very risky. Relationships are more risky than buying silver or buying stocks. It's true. In many aspects, that's true. Um, and I mean, there's certainly times where you get done wrong. Um, but to heal, you just gotta own it, and you just gotta move forward, and you just gotta be thankful. It's not easy though. I understand there's a lot of pain out there. Uh, King Genius, what's up, brother? Smiley emoji, sunglass, and a magical palm trees. Good to see you, brother. Shout out to Polk County, Florida. Italian. What I find interesting in Florida is you'll have $60,000 house next door to a $600,000 house. Well, I agree with that. I mean, I've seen that. Um, right now, Florida is in another boom period. As I travel the state, most of the state is growing and developing, and even Florida houses prices are starting to increase rapidly. As far as new houses and everything like that, they're not building the small quaint ones that you see in old type communities in Florida. So I think again, what does this generation have negative versus previous generation housing costs? In the 70s, housing and that's what in the 70s, workers had pensions, workers had annuities, workers were at the same company for 30 years, and they had affordable housing. So in today's generation, you don't have a solid retirement plan, and you don't have affordable housing. So I think all that being said, I think if America doesn't wake up, that even though things look good on the exterior, there's some fundamental things that they're going to reap their head, 20 years down the road. In my opinion, I could be wrong. That's my opinion. T-Ma, did your parents' divorce affect your opinion on relationships? No, I would say it actually helped them. Certainly, and then as I got mature in life and I started to understand what life is and how hard life is, they did the right thing. They were two different people. They got married too young, and they had probably too many kids. They had one too many kids. Um, but I understand like they were just trying to do their best in life, and overall, they were still two good people overall, just two different people. My father was very skinny, very much a neat freak. My mom liked to eat, and she was very sloppy. Just two different people. Uh, and I think my father, he just had a temperament either to deal with kids, and he's just a nervous Nelly and too much anxiety. So, but it is what it is. You can't go backwards. So, how I feel from all that, to me, I just observed, and I don't have any hate in my heart towards either one. I mean, they did the best they could, and part of life. And as you get older in life, you realize that for yourself, and you look back and you say, you know what, my parents were just doing the best they could in this world, for the most part. I mean, there's certainly exceptions, but I'm thankful they got a divorce, and I understand life. So, you just learn to, people just doing the best they can, and no one's perfect. King Genius, hope you have dreams about palm trees tonight. I have them dream every night. Good night, and thank you for making videos. Well, HVZ Genius, man, thank you for being part of the channel. and for leaving comments and always telling me click the thumbs up and all the things you do. I appreciate that very much. Um, so thank you, brother. I appreciate you. Gleno, isn't Florida crocodile infested? I haven't seen any. I did a couple videos like by water. They definitely have the signs that crocodiles can be here. I haven't seen it yet. I've seen a lot of wildlife, a lot of lizards, uh, different types of birds, snakes, all different type of wildlife. The wildlife, you'll be walking and something will just like scatter in front of you. But I haven't seen any alligators yet. BBT, Sam, did you know that palm tree isn't a real tree? Is it? It's like a bamboo. Well, that's interesting. I didn't know that. Thank you. It makes me think of the Bruce Lee quote. Bruce Lee, the martial arts and actor. I remember him saying the bamboo tree survives because it's flexible. And it's the stiffest tree that cracks the most easily when there are winds. And he said, learn the lesson from the bamboo tree who withers with the winds. Learn to be flexible so that you don't crack. I think that was wisdom. Glen O. In trucking, I've only been in Florida 2 times to Orlando. I see it on the highways. A lot of truckers down here. Certainly see them at the truck stops and at the rest stops. They get a little bit more privilege at the rest stops than truck stops. Sometimes here, many of them are 3-hour max stay, unless you're a trucker. I don't know about truckers. So, that's a negative too. It's one less place that you could stay long term. Glen O, only one truck stop in Orlando with $10 a night parking. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I see them on the road, and like I said, I don't know if they're held to the same standard. Like there's certain trucks, or certain rest areas that only allow a certain time period. I don't know if the truckers are held to that same standard or if they get a pass on that. I don't know. T-Ma, my parents remarried, and that made me decide that my children would never have step-parents. I'm not mad at that. My younger brother will never commit, and my older brother will never end his unhealthy marriage. Yeah, we can't change and we can't help people. Really, only they can help themselves, and we have to just accept people. Certainly, if you don't want them to be part of your life, you have every right to do that. But I know my mom always told me that. She goes, Sam, I'll never remarry. Um, yeah, she didn't even date. The only time she dated, I think, when we were all graduating high school, and she was in her 50s. She dated a guy for a couple years, just like as a casual, have somebody to talk to. And he was very nice, very good guy, and that was it. But she always said that she would never remarry, um, and it just, and I always respected that. My father did remarry. He was the type of guy he couldn't be alone. But I did see when I still talk to him, looking from the outside in, to me it didn't look like he's happy. I mean, I think he's probably happier than being alone. But again, he's like a high stress anxiety guy, and he likes everything perfect. I don't know, but she was maybe similar. I don't know. It's hard to tell what's in people's mind, um, but everyone has to do them. That's what I kind of learned in life. Everyone just has to do what works for them. Italian relationships. I found the perfect person. Yes, yeah, good luck with that. But your chances of finding that are stacked against you. That's for sure. Well, I definitely agree. You're better off stacking silver than stacking that. It's good to laugh, though. Yeah, it's true, man. There's nothing perfect. I mean, that's kind of like was the opening thing about can anyone really help you? I mean, the first thing you realize with that is life just isn't perfect. It could be better, and you should take steps to help yourself and receive help to make life better. But life will never be perfect. But you gotta be thankful. And you make the most of each day, and that's all we can do. That's all we can do in life, guys. Yep. Praise the Lord. Well, with that being said, I'm gonna call it a night. Peace and love, guys. Thank you for everyone who left a comment. Thank you again for everyone who hits the thumbs up on the video and shares it. I hope you have a great rest of Sunday night. Um, Everyone who's got to go to work tomorrow, I'm in the same boat with you, but let us be thankful. Glenn, good night to you, brother. Love and respect. Um, we just take it one day at a time. Rest well. Thank you, T-Ma. I appreciate that. And Silver River, thank you for contributing here. Thank you, Silent River, excuse me. Thank you, Silent River. Thank you. I appreciate that. It means a lot for people to, leave a positive comment. I read all the comments, so anytime I get a positive comment, I appreciate that. Silent River, appreciate your videos. I appreciate that comment. Thank you. Janice, peace. Thank you. Janice is lurking. Thank you, Janice. Love to you. I hope you get to play your guitar or at least listen to some music tonight. Peace and love, guys. Stay positive.